Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. This is going to be my third time doing a Leo reading. Two different times the video has gotten deleted, so hopefully I will get this uploaded right away tomorrow so it will not get deleted. But we'll see what's happening now. We're going to shuffle out the cards. You're going to get cards from the Intuit deck after we read what could be going on in Leo energy. At the end, we're going to draw some cards to find out what could be a possible outcome for people, depending on if they are harnessing their Leo energy in a more high vibrational way or a more worldly, shadowy way. We all have lessons to learn in life, and in our shadow nature, we can be more about pride, ego, fear, insecurity, immaturity, lust, greed, laziness, stubbornness, just maybe immature and got some lessons to learn in life. And so some people in their shadowy Leo energy might not have learned some of the lessons some other people have learned, which is tempering your more shadowy ego nature to be just and fair and loving and authentic. From the Intuit deck, we have a card not showing itself. It says sex. Some people, well, that would be could be how you harness your fire sign energy, which Leo is fire sign energy, Aries, Sagittarius. Some people might be more about indulging themselves in relationships, using their sexuality and to indulge or to get people to stay in a relationship with them. They might not, well, we'll see what comes up. Anyway, other people maybe are rejecting having sex with people. They could be rejecting having sex with people. Some people, in order to try to manipulate people, not attracted to people, don't want to have sex with certain people. The reason that came out is because don't deprive yourself of simple pleasures in life in pursuit of your goals, and impatience. I guess if some people feel like people are trying to manipulate them, or if people are being self-indulgent, there comes a time where we run out of patience with people. If you're being immature, if you want to go indulge yourself, if you're not being creative and inspired and authentic and loving in a relationship with me, why am I in a relationship with you? So we'll see where that comes up as we go. And then this is the overarching reason for the reading, which is the Page of Wands, which is fire sign energy. It represents all three: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Some people have that more immature nature. They align with indulging their more immature nature. Other people have that more hopeful, believing spirit. So, what is going on in Leo energy right now? Two cards not showing themselves. The reason it came out is because of the Two of Swords, which is Libra energy, which is about what we think is just and fair. Some people are stuck. The Two of Swords for some people can mean that they haven't seen the truth yet. They still got some lessons to learn. In our free will, there probably comes a time in our life that we got to pick a path. In our free will, am I going to do hope and faith and belief in myself and love and in my dreams? Or am I still going to be about my worldly nature, more about me? And some people want to stay stuck. They don't want to have to make a decision. They just hope other people will indulge them, not picking a path. But other people have picked a path, high vibe or more worldly focused. And that's how they want to live their life, and they could be listening. In the Two of Swords, it can mean people are listening to their intuition. Who is more on the same page as me? I like living my life like this. I like living my life like that. Who is on the same page as me? And the people who don't want to pick a path are probably feeling stuck, because they can get in relationships with people who have hope and faith and belief and love, and then, they don't know if they want to do that, and then they want to hang out with the people who maybe will indulge them more, maybe be more about ego or image, and then they feel like that can be not very loving, and so then they want to kind of keep going back and forth. And it kind of has to do with how we harness these cards. The people who don't want to pick a path and the people who are more shadowy are hiding that they haven't picked a path and they're more shadowy. And they don't want people to know that they do kind of align with these energies in a more shadowy way, and that probably some people in their life who harness these energies in a more high vibe way have left their life. The Ten of Pentacles and the Emperor. So more worldly, shadowy people are more aligned with their worldly nature and being more about themselves. And the Emperor is Aries energy, fire sign energy. You know, some people have decided, I'm not going to pick a path. I want the best of both worlds, and I can't decide what I want to do. I want to go between different types of people. Other people have decided I am more about money and materialism and status and image, or myself. Could be kind of bossy and controlling in a relationship. I think it's just and fair, but they don't want people to know that's how they view life. High vibe people, they've already cut those kind of people out of their life, and they've kind of detached from harnessing these energies themselves, being more motivated and inspired by the world and things of the world manipulating them, because it made them feel stuck. And it's like, I've got to pick a path. And the high vibe people said, you know what? If I have all these things of the world that everybody said should make me happy, and I still feel stuck, I need to detach from these jobs, these friendships, these relationships, this way of living life, viewing life. If I've been bossy and controlling and more indulgent or materialistic, I need to change. I need to listen to my intuition. And that's when those people put in this work and effort to listen to their intuition and make better decisions in their life. Now, as we go out in the world and we meet all these different people, some people are listening to their intuition. Again, who seems to be more on the same page as me? Who doesn't seem to be more on the same page as me? Who do I think is stuck? You know, shadowy people are looking for people who are stuck that they can tempt with things of the world so they can indulge themselves in a relationship, kind of being bossy and controlling or more about themselves. High vibe people are listening to their intuition about people who are like that because they've already been in relationships with people like that. And they don't want to be in relationships with people like that. So then we have the Five of Cups and the Five of Pentacles. And the reason they came out is because of the Justice card. The people who refuse to put in work and effort to make better decisions in their life, to listen to their intuition. Some of those people in the Five of Cups, it talks about they have these issues from their past that manipulate them. Past pain and heartbreak, or they're more emotionally shallow and superficial, don't really want to do love. I get hurt doing love. I want to align with my more worldly nature. The Five of Pentacles, the Five of Cups is Scorpio energy. You either want to be in deep, meaningful relationships and you work through those issues of your past to free yourself from it. So in the Five of Pentacles, you can move forward. Learn the lessons you're meant to learn. In High Vibe, the Ten of Pentacles is about learning those lessons, doing that inner work. Why did what I pursue make me feel stuck? I need to make better decisions in my life. I need to work through those regrets of the past, see the truth of it, see where I needed to heal, grow, mature, see about the truth of other people in my life where they might need to heal and grow and mature. If we're not headed in the same direction, and the Five of Pentacles being Taurus energy has to do with our philosophy of life. Do we have different philosophies of life? The Justice card, just like the Two of Swords, is Libra energy. What do I think is just and fair? What do other people that I have been in relationship with, that I am currently in relationship with, that I could be in relationship with? Who are the people that I think are on the same page as me, not on the same page as me? High vibe people have changed. The fives talk about change. They have worked through those regrets of the past. They were willing to go through a period of feeling left out in the cold. If we're going to detach from a way of living life, and we're willing to detach from workplaces, a friendship, a relationship, kind of distance ourselves from those people, because I feel like I'm missing out on an opportunity in love, I feel like it isn't very loving, is more superficial and shallow. People are being bossy and controlling or stubborn. They don't want to see the truth of it. I need to detach from those people. The truth sets us free. In High Vibe, the Five of Pentacles is I saw the truth about a way I was living life, a way I was viewing myself, the world, therefore the people I was hanging out with, the job I was in, friendships, relationships I was in. And we come in contact with all these different people to help us get more clear about our truth. And if there's certain people in our life that it's like, they kind of harness these energies in a shadowy way, more worldly way, don't really work together with me cooperatively from love, aren't willing to move forward in life in a more just and fair manner, treating other people the way they like to be treated, high vibe Leo energy, being authentic and warm and loving. I want to distance myself from those people. And I'm willing to go through that period of feeling left out in the cold. And that's why some people won't be moving forward with some other people in life. Because they do feel stuck. And they do have these regrets of the past. But they think in their Libra energy within themselves of what they think is just and fair, they could reject doing this inner work to work through those issues, and they keep staying in those jobs, friendships, and relationships. No, I'm going to keep moving forward with them. I might feel left out in the cold, I might feel sad, but I'm unwilling to detach from them. And it keeps them stuck, and they don't know maybe why do I feel stuck in this situation? Am I also working with people who might be bossy or controlling or emotionally shallow, superficial, try to manipulate me, but I'm unwilling to detach from them? I'm unwilling to see the truth? Because in order to detach from them, I would be sad and I would feel left out in the cold, and I would have to do this work within myself to love and believe in myself and believe in my dreams, and I'd have to align with my more hopeful believing spirit than my more codependent nature. And the pages can represent us being in more codependent energy. I'm not willing to detach from a friend or a friendship group or a workplace or a relationship, because then I'd have to have that more hopeful believing spirit in me, and I don't. So even though I might feel stuck, even though some people think I don't even think this is a good decision, even though I feel all these ways, I'm going to keep moving forward with those people because I'm not willing to be more independent. And, we're all willing to deal with the truth at different times, because we know when we are willing to deal with the truth. After that, we have the Magician card, which is Gemini and Virgo energy. The Ten of Pentacles is Virgo energy. What drives and motivates us? Is it to be part of a group, to have stability, security, image, and status at the expense? At all costs, in a way? Like, well, I don't really care if I don't like them, they don't like me, if we're all willing to stay together in a group and none of us are willing to be more independent, and we're all going to keep moving forward just the way we've always been moving forward. Well, then their long-term goal might be more driven and motivated to be in relationship. Maybe it helps them feel more stable. If they weren't in it, maybe they get caught up, shadowy Leo, shadowy energy. Maybe they get caught up more in their fear and their insecurity or something. And, maybe they feel they need to stay in certain friendships, jobs, and relationships until they do feel, the Magician can talk about feeling like you have access to all these different resources within yourself and have kind of learned these lessons within yourself to, in high vibe, Virgo energy and fire sign energy, to be more independent and stable and grounded within yourself and balanced within yourself. I'm no longer willing to stay in situations that make me feel sad, rejected, ignored. And I do feel like I have the resources within myself, and I'm going to change, and I'm going to get balance within myself, and I'm going to have that hopeful, believing spirit. You know, at any moment in time, we all do have the resources to begin to manifest our dreams into reality, because it really does start. Libra energy is air sign energy of the mind, and then we have in our fire sign energy our more creative, inspired, intuitive, hopeful, believing nature. And that's where it starts. We start by imagining, what would I like? What do I believe is possible? But we have to maybe first do this work within ourselves to get balanced within ourselves, to work through and put this work and effort kind of behind the scenes to work through those things that keep us stuck. Well, I've been in relationships before in the Five of Cups that didn't work out the way I wanted, from the time we were children to through our young adult and whatever life. We've all dealt with people in our life who we wish were more just and fair, were more loving, were more authentic, were more encouraging. Well, we just need to see the truth that everybody is where they're at. Even our parents, you know, some of them and people in our life were loving, nurturing, supportive, more balanced within themselves, but some of those people were stuck. And some of those people had to work through their own past pain and heartbreak, their own lack mentality. They could have gotten caught up in themselves, being more about themselves, defensive, or more worldly, materialistically driven. You know, so hurt people can hurt people, you know, and then we can keep repeating that pattern, which is what some people are doing. And other people are like, I don't want to keep repeating that pattern. I've been in relationships with people who I wanted them to make better decisions in their life. I wanted them to work through their issues to be more just and fair. But I can't make, again, the fives talk about change. I can't make other people change. They have to be kind of in their fire sign energy. They have to be motivated and inspired within themselves, because Aries energy of the Emperor is about itself. And it kind of depends in the Ten of Pentacles, Virgo energy, the foundation that they operate from. You have to be inspired to even want to invest time, energy, and effort to work through the things that keep you stuck, to be more balanced within yourself and be more just and fair and free yourself from those things of the past that manipulate you, to have that more hopeful, believing spirit when you manifest and invest in other people. But we all know people who didn't do that work within themselves. And, you know, again, it takes work and effort. And that's why some people don't do it. And then in shadowy Leo energy, some people can decide, I'm not going to do it. I don't have to do it. I think I can just shove it in a corner, in a box, in my mind. I don't have to deal with it. I can just ignore it. But then they carry that past pain and heartbreak, those fears, those insecurities, not feeling good enough, lack mentality. It affects their philosophy of life and how they view themselves, how they view the world, how they view others. And so some people are just still kind of immature, and they have some lessons to learn in life. That not being, you know, the truth sets us free. You know, and high vibe Virgo energy in the Ten of Pentacles and in the Magician is about being enlightened to the truth. Some people don't understand why they feel stuck. They move forward in things. They think that's going to be the answer. But shadowy energy can be being, again, in our more codependent energy, where we look outside of ourselves for the answer. Like, I'm going to drink this, eat this, pop that, hang out with these people, do this, get in a relationship, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure all those things are the answer. But really, the answer starts within ourselves. We have to understand what type of foundation we operate from and see the truth that everyone else operates from the foundation and philosophy of life and how they view life and these past pain and heartbreaks and all these things and their idea of what they think is just and fair. And that's how they're going to operate in life. And it's trying to, again, coming in contact with all these different people to help us get more clear about what our truth is and what our truth isn't. Are we going to keep staying and moving forward with people in relationships? Maybe because by worldly standards, it looks like we have justice in the world. I have a job. I'm in a relationship. I'm married. I have friends. But, you know, we feel sad and we feel left out in the cold and it doesn't seem very abundant. We could be hanging out with people who aren't very enlightened. Operate maybe more, are more hurtful, unkind, bossy, controlling, superficial, shallow. They think it's just and fair to be that way. That's like shadowy Scorpio. Could even act like a private detective or be a narcissist. Shadowy Taurus can be people who are more stubborn, materialistic, ego-driven, money-driven, status-driven. And that's how they view life. And we all justify our actions. Again, some people are very immature. And just like at different stages of our life, we viewed life and lived life the way we lived life. We all thought it was just and fair, or we wouldn't have been doing it, you know? And we need to see the truth that everybody has their way of living life. We just need to find the people who are more on the same page as us. And are we willing to do this work within ourselves when we feel stuck to believe we deserve the justice we deserve? And we need to do that work to work through the fact that some of those people, you know, we wanted to be in deep, meaningful relationships, but maybe they're not people who want to be in deep, meaningful relationships. Maybe they like to keep their emotions more buried beneath the surface and live more from their mind than their heart. Well, then we can't have a deep, meaningful relationship with them. If they have a lack mentality or they're more codependent, but they don't want to see how they could be more codependent on other people in their life, friends or family or the world, where they never become more independent. And so then if you move forward in a relationship with them thinking you're going to manifest a dream and they're like, oh, but I'm codependent on these people. And if those people at some future point in time kind of feel ignored or I'm not giving them enough attention, again, if that's my friends or people in my original family group or something, and they tell me they don't want me to move forward with you, even though you could be someone I marry and have children with, well, sorry, I'm not going to move forward with you because I'm codependent on those people. They are my primary foundation that I move forward with. You're like a third party to that relationship. You know, and sometimes you don't realize that for a long time in a relationship. Let's go look at this card. The Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is Gemini energy about what, in our free will, what is our truth. And again, some people try to hide from the world that they do think it's just and fair to live more from their mind than their heart. And so they could, you know, make offers to get in relationships with people. But it is kind of more about indulging themselves in a relationship. Shadowy fire sign energy. I want to be in a relationship. I might even want to be, because I feel sad, because I feel left out in the cold. I might try to get in a relationship with a more high vibe person, but that's really not my truth. I harness my Gemini and my Virgo energy in a more worldly or defensive or, you know, I want all these things that other people have And to make it look like I'm that type of person too, I try to get in relationships with people who are like that. Because then it makes me look like I'm that type of person. But then you get high vibe people who have hope and faith and belief and love and have learned some lessons in life and have grown and matured and healed themselves, have that kind of hopeful believing spirit, get in a more mismatched relationship where you harness your fire sign energy and your worldly nature differently. And then you try to move forward in a relationship, and one person lacks hope and faith and belief and love, is more aligned with being more motivated by themselves or these things of the world. This is good for my ego and my image and my status. I want to be in this relationship. I want to indulge in it. But I'm either kind of immature, or I'm kind of bossy or stubborn or prideful or emotionally shallow, or get all caught up in my head and my fears and my insecurities, or just like to live more emotionally detached and not really authentically do love, or I've got a lot of lessons to learn about, have a lot of truths I need to be illuminated about. Because if you're in a relationship, you should treat people in a just and fair way. When things come up, you should offer love to the situation and truth and be just and fair. But some people haven't done this work within themselves, that when things come up in a relationship, they operate more out of pride, ego, immaturity, defensiveness. And eventually some high vibe people in their life are like, I'm willing, even though this could make me look like a boss in the world, even though I could like this job, for a lot of reasons, I could like this friendship, I could be attracted to people, I wish things were different, but I have to deal with the truth. Things aren't different. So I am willing to detach from those people, and I am willing to work through the regrets that it didn't work out the way I wanted. But if people aren't working together with me in a just and fair and authentic and loving way, and they do things that they could think because of their more immature nature, that, and some people are just more about themselves, and they are more about their ego and their image and their status and being about themselves, and you didn't know that when you got in a relationship. And some people are looking for people who don't know the truth about who they are in the Two of Swords. You're kind of going back and forth. You don't really know the truth of who I am. Perfect. I'm going to hide from you that I am really more about myself. I might try to present myself as this person who is sad and was left out in the cold, and that I'm this just and fair person. Because shadowy energy is people who try to present themselves as harnessing high vibe energy, so high vibe people will get in a relationship with them. Then it looks like they've moved on. They've had a new beginning. They're not who people said they were, but they are. It's just for the next person they get in a relationship with to realize it. And as that relationship moves forward, some of the people in their life are like, you presented yourself as this hopeful, believing, authentic, loving, just, fair person, but, and I didn't know the truth about you when I got in a relationship with you, and initially we all could have been sad and kind of felt left out in the cold because something didn't work out the way we had hoped, and we were both had our ideas and thought this was just and fair, so we take this job, we get in this friendship, we get in the relationship. But then as time goes by, one person is kind of like mentally strategizing, because you're either being authentic and truthful, are who you say you are, or you're trying to create an illusion about who you are, and then it's like a mental strategy. And that's what some people are doing right now. Some people could try to do that with you. There's people in the world who can see high vibe people moving forward in their life, but they're not really sure. Are you tempted in your pride and your ego and your lust and your greed? Are you sad? Do you still feel left out in the cold? Can I come indulge in a relationship with you? Will you like manifest and invest in me to have a new beginning? Well, high vibe people have learned these lessons in life. And that's what some people don't know with these cards not showing themselves. Other people are trying to figure out, do you view life like I do? Are you more about looking like a boss in the world? Are you tempted in, your lust, your greed, your pride, your ego, because of these reasons that you're willing to get involved in something? What some people don't know, though, is you have done this work within yourself. You've changed. You're not like the person you used to be, maybe stuck, hadn't been enlightened to the truth. You've learned a lot of truths about different people that you've come in contact with in the world. Not everybody's motivated by love. Some people, that is the very thing they want to avoid. If it starts to get to be in a relationship where they have to deal with these issues within themselves, that's when some people are like, you mean I'd have to get more balance within myself? I can't be tipped out of balance in my more defensive, egoic, indulgent. Can't we stay in the relationship more because of these reasons? And the high vibe people are like, no, it has to be more just and fair and loving and authentic. Relationships are supposed to grow and mature over time and have that hopeful, believing spirit that we can manifest our dreams into reality. And that's when some of those people are like, I was never planning to live life that way. I thought you viewed life like I did, and I thought you'd stay here because of these reasons. I mean, I have issues from my past, and I could have a lack mentality, but I just keep moving forward with it. And high vibe people periodically go through their baggage. I don't want to keep carrying this baggage with me for another 5 years. So I did some work within myself to let go of some of those things, to reconcile myself with some of those things, so I could get out of my head about it and have that hopeful, believing spirit to keep moving forward, believing in my dreams. And some of those people are like, oh, shit. That means I'd have to do that. And I never planned to do that. And so that's when, we're kind of find out we've gotten to a point in a relationship, which can be 10, 20 years down the road, that is kind of like, the other person's like, I guess I don't really have that hopeful, believing spirit. It would require me to change. I would have to quit being more out of balance about myself or the world, and I'd have to get more balance between my worldly nature and my hopeful, believing nature, and it would require me to work through these issues that manipulate me. I'd have to get out of my head. I can't, strategize or manipulate or use my charm or my emotions or my sexuality to get you to do what I want. I'd have to have that more hopeful, believing spirit, and we both have to be, the fives can also talk about balance because there's a maximum of 10 in every suit. So if we're at a 5, we're not too much up in our head, not too much in our emotions, not too much in our fiery nature, not too much consumed by the world. We're kind of maintaining balance. And for some people, they're all in. You didn't realize that I am really more about the world or myself. That is I don't like to see the truth of it or even maybe admit it to myself. But it ends up kind of being revealed when they get in relationships with other people and then they don't move forward with certain people because it's I don't even want to admit to myself why I didn't move forward with those people. But those people did work within themselves during the course of life, a span of time. They're not the same people that they were when I got into some relationship with them. And they're no longer up in their head and kind of maybe indulging their more worldly, immature nature to a certain degree that they could have when I could have gotten in a relationship that made us more compatible. And now that they've changed and they've worked through some things and they're ready to move forward in life differently, that's when some other people feel stuck they would maybe like to go, but there's these things that they would have to become independent from. You have to let some things go. You have to let some old ways of viewing life, attitudes, you know, the pages are about being a student of life, and here we have a 10, and a 10 is kind of like it's a completion of a cycle. You've learned everything you needed to learn at that phase of life. It's time to move forward and have that hopeful believing spirit. And some people are like, no, I never want to step out of my comfort zone, look at life any differently, do anything any differently. The way I'm living my life right now is the way I want to keep moving forward, because I might have these fears of change, fear of stepping outside my comfort zone. And so then they kind of keep indulging their more immature nature in a way of repeating an old pattern over and over and over. And that's fine. If that's what they want to manifest, is like, I don't want to go to any other phase of life. I don't want to view myself differently. I don't want to view how I view relationships differently. I don't want to think differently, see life any differently. I don't want to be illuminated to any other ways of looking at life. I'm happy living my life the way I live it. And it could just be in the Five of Cups and the Five of Pentacles. I don't want to be, everybody can have their ideas. It can be, I have a way of viewing life. And it's just kind of their way or the highway is what kind of shadowy with the Aries there can be. Regardless, they don't have to be an Aries sun sign. They don't have to be a Libra sun sign. You know, just what motivates people, what they think is just and fair. And if there's someone who doesn't want to deal with their issues, they want to maybe get in relationships with other people who don't deal with their issues because they've decided that's just and fair. They want to get in relationships with other people who think that's just and fair to live their life that way too. And then they are on the same page. And, you know, what they're driven and motivated by and how they want to live their life is the same. It's just a problem if it's more mismatched. High vibe people listen to their intuition. They've changed. They maintain balance within themselves. They've done this work within themselves. They're making good decisions in their life. They don't get all caught up in their head. They have that hopeful believing spirit. The people in their life that are on that same page are moving forward with them. It's just for the people that we kind of are mismatched that it's more of a problem with. And if people are going to keep moving forward in those more mismatched relationships, or if they're willing to get out of them, some people are kind of bossy and controlling. They don't like the world to know that. They like the world to view them as this just and fair and stable and grounded person. But in order to get people to do what they want, instead of being just and fair and authentic and loving and warm, they try to manipulate people by doing things that are kind of immature. It's an immature way of trying to get people to do what you want, but they don't want to be more just and fair and balanced. They have a way of viewing life, which is trying to manipulate people. Shadowy Leo energy, trying to manipulate people to get them to do what they want. Some of those people did that, and some high vibe people worked through it, and it's like, I'm not going to be up in a mental prison about you anymore. Our truth is different. I do act in a just and fair way. I do offer like truth and love to people. You try to manipulate and control and intimidate, thinking I won't love and believe in myself. And I could have been up in a mental prison, and I could have felt stuck, and I could have been hurt, and I could have felt left out in the cold. But I did this work within myself. Only I hold the key to free myself. Some other people want to be the boss of your life. If you don't do things the way I want you to, which you could have been in more codependent energy and kind of like even in jobs were kind of codependent on a job in a way, that then people think they can act in these kind of shadowy ways. You won't leave. You want this job. You want to be in this friendship. You want to be in this relationship. And that's when high vibe people see the truth. This isn't just and fair, and I don't like people trying to manipulate me. And I'm going to do the work to work through all of this. And I'm going to see the truth that you're not acting in a just and fair way. And I am going to distance myself from you. And I will take this time within myself, focused on truth and love, to give myself, that's high vibe Aries, high vibe Ten of Pentacles, high vibe Libra, high vibe Taurus, high vibe Scorpio. And high vibe Leo, yeah. I am going to give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me to free myself, because I have been in some relationships with people who weren't just and fair, who were more about themselves, who were bossy or controlling or intimidating or prideful or egotistical or whatever. And they only write the story of my life if I believe that they have that much power and control in my life. And there's someone I used to know. And the truth, in Gemini energy of aligning, in high vibe Leo, I'm aligning with truth and love, being my own best mother, father, coach voice to my own foundation, to work through my own fears and insecurities and lack mentality, to have that hopeful, believing spirit that I have the divine to work with. And I believe that there's more to work with in this world than just the things of the world. And I believe if I work and put in work and effort aligned with truth and love, and invest my time, energy, and effort into the people and appreciating the people in my life who are truthful and just and fair and loving and authentic, and quit investing my time, energy, and effort into the people who aren't, then we have the Six of Swords. I am going to manifest my dreams into reality. And I am going to listen to my intuition to guide me. And I am going to be heading into unknown territory. We kind of like to stay in our comfort zone, which can kind of be like Leo energy of the sun. I know how to work with these people. I'm familiar with it. I know everything that goes on here. But if I go there, I don't know everything. And it's stepping into unknown territory. And the moon can talk about our fears and our insecurities. But the whole thing is, if there's people in my life who are being shadowy, who aren't being in high vibe Leo energy of the sun, being authentic and truthful and loving and warm, I'm going to keep listening to my intuition and offer truth and love to my fears and my insecurities to come out on the other side in the Knight of Cups, in hope and faith and belief in my dreams. And as I do that, I go from the Knight to the King of Cups. I grow and mature myself. It's kind of like my more loving, intuitive nature guiding me with the truth. And as I move forward in that energy and I offer truth and love to people in my life to move forward with me in this way, the people who are inspired by that will do that work within themselves. And the people who weren't inspired to do that, now some of those people feel sad and feel left out in the cold because their manipulation didn't work. And the things they went to go indulge in to make themselves, that they were sure was going to make them happy, maybe didn't work out the way they wanted. I have all these things of the world. I have the status. I have this image. It's all about me. Everybody in my life I'm manipulating or being bossy and controlling of. It's just not very abundant and not very deep, meaningful relationships. But some of them will keep moving forward in it anyway because that is their comfort zone. And they want to keep manifesting, living more from their mind than their heart, hiding from their more loving nature, and keep investing shadowy masculine energy. Doesn't have to mean you're dealing with male. Can just represent people operating more from their ego nature, like presenting themselves as loving people, but really they're operating more from their ego. And that's their truth. And that's how some people want to live their life. I want to wear my false mask. I want to create this illusion that I'm this just, fair, loving person so other people will move forward in a relationship with me. And I'm hoping if at some future date when those people start to listen to their intuition and they really want me to move forward in truth and love and we realize we harness these energies differently, I'm hoping because of their own fear of loving and believing in themselves and detaching from me, they'll just keep moving forward in the illusion. And sometimes that's what shadowy people are counting on. I hope the people I get in a relationship with don't love and believe in themselves. So they'll kind of keep indulging me in a relationship, even though they're not in a relationship with someone who's like them. They deserve. Justice says this is an injustice. But shadowy people think it's justice for them to get someone to indulge their poor behavior in a relationship. And hoping if they can get someone to move forward with them in a relationship or to bring like a dream into reality, hiding the truth of who they are, that even when those people find out, those people, because of their ego or their fear or their codependency, won't get out of it. And then a shadowy person has trapped a loving person in a relationship. And that's where God says, you adhere to a higher truth and justice. If people aren't being loving and authentic and acting with character and integrity, you adhere to a higher truth. You have that hopeful, believing inner child nature. I adhere to my truth, not the things of the world, because this is an injustice, and I adhere to a higher truth and justice. And my intuition is telling me to leave these people because they're not being just and fair and authentic and loving. And I believe the truth will set you free. So what's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Leo energy, who are moving forward in life, communicating, having new beginnings, investing in their dreams? What's coming up that you don't see coming? The Five of Wands. Why? Because of the Death card. As you go through this process in the Five of Wands, you change, and the Five of Wands is Leo energy. You're not harnessing your Leo energy in the way you used to. Maybe being more conflicted, being more in your ego, being in more competitive energy. With the Death card, that ends. Why? You've changed. Why? Because in Scorpio, emotional water sign energy, you offered yourself love. Love is the answer. I offered love to myself to see the truth and to make these good decisions in my life to get the justice I deserve. I can only have my divine inheritance if I'm acting in truth and love, not indulging other people in their poor behavior, and not settling for something that's not just and fair. So you changing and transforming your life is also what the Death card talks about. I'm not the same person who I was before. I've shed that layer of myself. I've given birth to a new me. I have learned these lessons in life. I am making these better decisions. I have changed. I am more balanced within myself. I'm not up in my head like I used to be about loving myself. I learned the truth. When I learn to love myself, it's harder for other people to manipulate me because I'm in less codependent energy. I've changed, and a lot of people are going to have a problem with that. Because some people wanted you in inner conflict. Some people wanted you feeling left out in the cold. Some people wanted you up in a mental prison. Some people wanted you to go drive your life off into the ditch. So they, in turn, could look like they were this more stable, grounded, victorious, loving person by maybe doing bossy, controlling, hurtful, unkind, immature things to try to stop you from loving and believing in yourself. And you said, no, I'm not going to let people who are in shadowy energy stop me from loving and believing myself. I just see the truth about them. And I realized a truth I maybe wasn't seeing, which was very difficult, But I realize they're in the death card, they're in non-life-giving energy. They're in shadowy Leo energy. And I'm emotionally detaching from people who harness their Leo energy in a shadowy way. Competitive, prideful, want people to compete for them in their ego, think they're the boss. It's like, you know what, I'll let somebody else fight for you and fight over you. I want to be in relationships with people who choose love and people who do these hurtful, unkind things, egotistical. Yeah, emotionally, I don't want anything to do with you. And we can distance ourselves from people. And then Scorpio talks about those deep emotional connections we have, and it takes time to emotionally disconnect. You will emotionally disconnect because you were inspired in your own foundation to love and believe in yourself. You're not the same person. You've changed. And some people's shadowy plans and tactics to get you to either drive your life off into the ditch or do the relationship the way they wanted didn't work. And they're back here repeating, doing life the way they still do it. And you've moved on in life, having new beginnings. And I think as you're moving forward in that way, other people are inspired by, because high vibe energy is also being a leader. High vibe Leo, you're shining your light in the world. You're being authentic and warm and loving. Shadowy energy within yourself, your own shadow nature, other people in your life who wanted you to be in your shadow energy so you'd stay in a relationship with them, and you're like, no, this isn't my truth. I'm going to align with my more hopeful believing nature. I'm going to invest my time, energy, and effort into people who are more hopeful believing energy. And while they repeat this old way of living life, you've changed and you're moving forward. And then other people, it inspires them to do this work. And some of those people, different people will want to be the next people. Some of them are going to be immature. They just want to be, because something didn't work out, they want to be the next person to indulge in a relationship. But you've also learned during this process to listen to your intuition. Six of Swords, Five of Wands, communicate with people your truth, get to know their truth, listen to your intuition, who's more motivated by lust, greed, pride, ego, indulgence, before you make an offer in love to have a new beginning with people. And the people who you think are on that page are the people you will continue to move forward with. And the people who aren't, you're going to distance yourself from them. And some of those people will be sad because they didn't do this work within themselves like you did. You're on different pages in life. You view life differently. What's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Leo energy that they might not see coming? The Queen of Wands. Why? Because of the Hierophant. So, shadowy people harness shadowy Leo energy. I view the Queen of Wands as Leo energy. Why? Because that's their philosophy of life. The Hierophant and the Five of Pentacles, Taurus energy. They're always going to have some people in their life who are more high vibrational, who harness high vibe Leo, Taurus energy. And some of the high vibe people in their life are sad. They've been trying to offer them love and encouragement, to look at life from a higher perspective, to work through their fears and their insecurities, to move forward in truth and love. And some of these people are like, nope, not going to do it. I am not willing to make that decision. I do not want to see the truth. I think the way I live my life is just and fair. If you want to move on, you can move on. I'll go find someone else. I think the way I live my life is just and fair. And that's fine. But they're always going to have some high vibe people in their life that are going to move on. Because they see that these people either live more from their mind than their heart, or they're never willing to spread their wings and fly. To look at life from a higher perspective. High vibe, Six of Swords, Aquarius energy. Just caught up in themselves or looking like a shining star in the world. And they're always going to have some high vibe people whose philosophy of life is different. And eventually those people, just like some of you have, they're going to be willing to let go of those relationships and move forward to go get in a relationship with other people who are inspired to transform their life. And some of the shadowy people eventually will probably end up in relationships with people who harness this energy the same way they do, to some degree. You know, it could just be more codependent, a little bit more caught up in being in a relationship just to be in a relationship, be in a relationship to indulge yourself in a relationship, be in a relationship for status or image or to look like a boss in the world. And if those people are willing to be in a more, because of their past pain and heartbreak and whatever, to stay in it, that's fine. You know, eventually some people might decide to leave, but they have to get in relationships with people who are more on the same page as them. And some of them don't like that. You know, well, I like to live more from my mind than my heart, but I like other people not to. It's like, but that's what you align with. So the people who don't live more from their mind than their heart are going to move on. And you might have to be in a relationship with someone who's also maybe more about themselves or ego or image and willing to stay in a relationship with you for those reasons and create the illusion it's love. It just maybe won't be love. It's more because afraid of change. We're both on the same page. We view life the same way. Neither one of us want to be more independent of this way of viewing life. Other people did. And we don't. So we're on the same page. Some of those people might have to be in relationships with people who also might not deal with their regrets of the past, might be have a lack mentality, might be more stubborn or prideful or emotionally shallow and superficial. But if that's who they are, also is kind of just and fair, you know? And the other people, they're going to transform their life and do truth and love. So there you go, Leo. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.